Showed me the lease and what my monthly amount was, and when I realized that, wow, well that amount is more than my mortgage, okay, and again, I've been in this business long enough to know that I've got a lot more expenses, than just my mortgage, and the quality of that is calculated that way. But the point being is, this was a great lesson for me, because I have bought into all the retirement planning hype, okay? I'm saving in my 401k religiously, like I hope everybody else in this room is, and I know it's very painful looking at those 401ks these days, but I'm not saving for my mortgage payments or, scrambled eggs in the morning. I'm saving to go out and, I'll go sailing for 6 months, or visit my kids and my grandkids and travel the globe. This was a reality check for me. What I'm saying, that's discretionary income, okay? If I'm lucky enough to plan well enough and save well enough for my retirement, hopefully I'm going to be able to pay my rent. And then what's left over on top of that, maybe I can go on a trip or two. A lot of people make this move because they can't drive anymore, okay? Well, if you live somewhere where you don't need to drive, like a city or a college town or a place with public transportation, losing the ability to drive doesn't change your lifestyle one bit. And so what you can see is I've seen this in our industry for 20 years, is that, hey, I'm making this move because I can't drive anymore. And you can see how that could be frustrating to somebody because they weren't quite ready to sort of give their purpose that was connected to their automobile up. But so what I sort of see, and you see this in a lot of urban environments, people are migrating to cities like Chicago and DC, New York, what have you, because it enables you to live your life without a car or with minimal transportation, and it makes this life transition a little bit easier. So, and I was struck with the fact that, geez, all of my eggs are in the basket of work and family. That's where all of my eggs are. I'm starting a new life here, and I have to redefine myself and find a purpose, and I don't know how to do that because, quite honestly, I don't know if I had done that since I went away to college. So we go up to my apartment, and I, am getting ready to unpack, and Barbara said the sweetest words to me. They're expecting that you were going to participate in Wii Bowling at 10:30. And I was like, oh man, all right, I've got something to do, okay? I've got a schedule, and then better yet, they handed me the activities calendar, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do everything on this list. This was now my purpose. This is the first day in this community was the most exhausting day of my life, okay? Not because I was breaking big rocks into little rocks, but because it was the emotion of losing my purpose and having to regain a new purpose. I had a great time, but at the end of that day, I was completely wiped out. And the next morning, if I was a single guy in a bar, this was my pickup line. Man, yesterday wiped me out. I can't believe you went through this. This is insane. I almost didn't wake up this morning for this activity. And then the other residents would start to talk to me about their experience of this transition. And they had the benefit of more time. So some people, it was a 3-month transition process where they were wiped out every day. Others made the transition easier because they came in with their husbands and wives. But this established a common bond. Much of our purpose is built around helping other people. And how, in general, and I have nothing but great things to say about Paul Spring. What I'm going to say is a statement on our industry. Our industry is built around doing things for people, okay? That's why we all love our jobs so much, because we are constantly helping people. But think of those of you who are parents, and if you do everything for your kids, what happens? It changes their sense of purpose, it changes their way of being. And what I identified was how I wanted to grasp to any opportunity that I had to help other people. This is a quote that was on another blog called My Better Nursing Home. And this is a nursing home resident who wrote this. I have the will to have a purpose, but now I need assistance in grabbing onto it. Just as we residents need help with cooking and serving our meals, but we have the will to eat. We need help in putting our thoughts together and work on a project with a purpose. This is very powerful, and I saw this firsthand, is that what we can all do in this room and families out there is help people be a guide in finding your purpose. And if you've cared for people your entire life, don't let that change when you move into the community. These communities are not about the walls. It's not about the crown molding. It's not even about the food and the dining and all this stuff. It's about the people that live in the walls. And think about if those of you who went away to college and left home, do you remember the square footage of your dorm room? Do you even remember what the walls color were? What you remember, and unless you're a really picky eater, you don't remember the food. What you remember is the friendships that you formed with the other students and with the staff, the professors, and the learning experiences that you had there. And it's the exact same thing. Although I will tell you, a college is a bunch of 18-year-olds. This is people with really interesting lives. It's like going to a college where everybody is a professor. And it's an unbelievable learning experience. Forced me, I had no choice but to have a positive attitude because I had this short window of time where I had to experience this. Now, I can tell you, if you pulled a random 43-year-old off the street and you said, listen, it's your lucky day. You're not going to be able to talk to your family. You're not going to be able to talk to your work. And I'm taking your cell phone in your car. You're going to go live in a retirement community. I guarantee we could show a bunch of examples of a negative attitude and how you wouldn't have the same experience as what I had. But this short window of time and the fact that I wanted to do this, it put me in a frame of mind where I had a positive attitude. But I can tell you, every step of the way, I saw where I could have gone down the opposite direction. This challenge, I don't care who you put into it, they're going to go through the same exact thing. The fact that you've got frailty issues, the fact that you may have more loss in your life immediately before this move, that makes it even more difficult to have a positive attitude. But that's what I see our industry, the role that we can all play is, going back to that nursing home quote, resident quote, it's our job to be a guide and help people get on this positive attitude from the get-go. Because what happens when you got the negative attitude is, if you don't want to move into the community, if you don't want to do this, if you're stuck and you can't let go of the past, what you're going to do is you're going to have a negative attitude to prove that this is the wrong decision. And those of you who are parents, we know this technique works, okay? I mean, I'm not going to school, I'm not doing this, and I'm going to prove that this was wrong. How was school today? It was horrible, you know. So it's the same exact thing.